It is not your job to fix them. Most people just want you to validate their bad choices and not actually accept any help from you. The chances are, right now, you might be letting your worth be dependent on someone else's healing, and that is slowly going to drain you. That I can guarantee. They don't want your help. They don't want to be fixed. They just want you to feel sorry for them and agree that their bad choices and the situation they put themselves in isn't their fault. So don't try to fix them, because right now you are carrying their burdens on your shoulders. You think that if you love them just a little bit more, support them a little harder, stay patient just a little while longer, that they'll finally change. But that moment never comes. Wasting your time and energy on manipulative people like that will not get you anywhere, apart from you potentially ending up in a dark place yourself, because the moment you indulge, they get the upper hand. So don't allow them to sap the life out of you, because caring about someone becomes damaging when it turns into self-sacrifice. And after a while, the biggest problem they're going to be facing is not the fact they're trying to fix them, it's the belief that your value depends on when you're needed, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Because the trick is just to stay compassionate without losing yourself in the process, and you can only do that by creating boundaries and then actually sticking with them. I want you to notice your pattern. Before you're going to try and change anything, you have to notice when you start making excuses on their behalf. It might sound something along the lines of, if you say, if I don't help, they have no one. Or if I'll stop trying, they might think that I'm a bad person. And when you catch yourself doing that, I'm going to need you to pause. And now you're going to have to ask yourself, is this actually about helping them? Or is this about avoiding the guilt? Because there's a difference between supporting someone and oppressing yourself for someone else's sake. Because let's be honest, last time they poured all the burdens onto you, the problems, the trauma. They take time out of your evening, or multiple evenings, because they just keep telling you and keep repeating the same things over and over. So what do? You listen, you're there for them. Maybe you even advise them. And what's changed? My guess is nothing. Some people don't want to be saved. When you want to help someone, it is incredibly important to separate your responsibilities from theirs, because you are responsible for your healing, your choices, and your growth. And then they are responsible for their healing, their choices, and their growth. I want you to imagine two circles, okay? Yours and theirs. When you try to fix them, you have to step into their circle. And by doing that, you abandon your own, because you can't pour energy into them whilst also pouring it into you. The reserves are limited, so we can't just be pouring it everywhere. We have to choose. I also have a question for you. When do they ever do that for you? When's the last time they abandoned their circle to go into yours? Something tells me it's not very often, if ever. So go back to your own circle, because you can still care without directly carrying all of their burdens. You can support someone without trying to be their savior. I believe the easiest thing is to keep it simple whilst also being sincere. You're obviously going to have to listen, and that's fine. You're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of time. But then what do? You tell them that they've got it, that you believe in them, that you know that they're capable of sorting it out, or doing it on their own, or getting somewhere. You don't have to get up and fix it for them. You don't have to pick them up and actually take them there. Because if you do, their situation is never going to change, because they're just going to be used to, once again, that someone else is going to do it for them. There's a chance they expected more, and that's okay. You can't give more. You can't give everything. You're doing what you can, and chances are you've already sacrificed enough. When you're trying to help someone, it is crucial that you set boundaries that protect yourself, your energy, and your time. This is where most people tend to freeze, because for whatever reason, they think that boundaries are selfish. Well, they're not. Boundaries are the things that make relationships, friendships, partnerships, whatever, healthy, and they allow you to not lose yourself. How many times do you see someone continues to go into the gym, doing things with their friends, they get into a relationship and they stop all of it? Why? Because they didn't create and set that boundary in the beginning. And if your partner doesn't respect that boundary, well then, they're not for you. That's plain and simple as that. If somebody keeps coming to you with the same problem over and over and over again, a simple boundary might sound something along the lines of, look, I'm here to listen, and if you want, I can even give you some advice, but I can't keep having the same conversation over and over again. Or you might be straight up and honest. Look, I want to help, but I need time for myself this evening. If I had a great day, I need this for me. It's not selfish, because you can't pour out of an empty cup, can you? You might try, but it's not going to go very far. Stay calm. You don't need to over-explain yourself. You don't need to provide some grand justification for it. If you can't, you can't. And that's that. Because there's another thing. If someone only values you when you have no boundaries, when you always tell them yes, you're always there for them, and now they don't, well, what kind of friendship or relationship is that? It's a two-way street. It's not all about them. This is also about you. This is probably something that might feel familiar. There was someone you cared for very deeply. You thought that if you just give him enough love, patience, support, things would change. That they would finally change. That, they would finally see you. So you try, and you try again, and you keep going, all for their sake, until your own needs become secondary, until their emotions dictate your entire day. You actually end up fighting for their life harder than they were, or even worse, your own. The reality is that you can hand someone every single tool, give them every single piece of information, every answer there is to know, every bit of love that you can muster. But if they don't want to use it, then nothing's going to change. And while you're trying to save them, you're actually slowly losing yourself. You matter as well. Don't you forget that. You deserve a life that's not dictated by how someone else feels. That's not fair on you. Remember, it is not your job to fix them. It is not your job to carry them. And it is definitely not your job to make yourself smaller just so they can stand taller. I want you to step back and choose yourself. Because when you finally release the responsibility of trying to fix others, you actually allow them to grow. Whether they choose to grow or not, that's up to them. But that's when they actually will, if they finally make that choice. If you keep doing everything for them, they never will. And more importantly, you give yourself a chance to finally breathe. And I promise you, that's not being a coward, because that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy choice to make. So that shows real strength and emotional maturity. As always, I wish you the best of luck, and I will see you next week.